It's a wild one today because I'm sharing 10 fun facts about Disney's Animal Kingdom. What's up? Welcome to episode 114 of the WDW Opinion podcast. My name is Connor Brown, and I am an author, blogger, travel agent, former Walt Disney World cast member, and a Walt Disney World expert. My passion is to help you plan for and daydream about your next perfect Walt Disney World vacation. If you are a new listener here, welcome. Thanks for being here. Feel free to go back and check out all of our past episodes where we cover a wide variety of Disney-related topics. And you can also subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or in Spotify. If you're a longtime listener, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. If you continue to enjoy the show, be sure to share it with someone you think would enjoy it as well. We've got a fun one today, a lot of fun facts. Before we get into that, a couple housekeeping points. Just wanted to do a quick reminder that if you aren't following us on social media, please do that. You can stay up to date with all the ongoings that we have going on at WDW Opinion. You can follow us at WDW Opinion on Instagram and TikTok. And over on Facebook, just head over to facebook.com/WDW Opinion. Be sure to follow us all there. And for the last few episodes, we've been doing video versions of the podcast over on YouTube as well. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Hope you like my face. Hope you like my sweet shirt I got on. It says Time Rover. It's got a couple dinosaurs on there. Time Rover, but it's in the Land Rover logo. But Time Rover, it's a blast. It's in the past. Dinosaur, the ride in Animal Kingdom. A perfect shirt to be wearing for this episode. For those who are watching on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share a comment on the video as well once we get done. And if you do want to check out the video version, head over to wdwopinion.com/YouTube. You'll be able to subscribe to the channel as well. Just a couple friendly reminders there. Now it's time to get wild, and we get to talk about Animal Kingdom. In episode 109, I shared 10 fun facts about Hollywood Studios, followed by 10 fun facts about Magic Kingdom in episode 110. Last week in episode 113, I shared 10 fun facts about Epcot. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, be sure to go back and check them all out, because today I'm going to be giving you 10 fun facts about the final Walt Disney World theme park, Animal Kingdom. In many ways, Animal Kingdom is a theme park that's filled with the most details out of any of the Walt Disney World theme parks. From the moment you enter the park, you are surrounded by all different forms of life. Human life, animal life, plant life, flora and fauna, if you remember from 8th grade biology, all that jazz. Animal Kingdom's original tagline was Natazu. Right? It sounded like an African word. It wasn't. It simply was just not a zoo smushed together. Shmush, mush, mush. Not a zoo. They wanted that to be the tagline because they didn't want people to think of it simply as a zoo. And what Animal Kingdom really is it's a theme park that celebrates life. Nature is at its core, but the big emphasis is on how nature impacts our lives. And in some cases, how our lives impact the nature around us. This relationship between nature and man is found in details all throughout the park. And the details in the park, the attention to details, make this park so full of life. But before you get to the entrance of the park, there is anything but life in that parking lot. Which brings us to our first fun fact of the day. Fun fact number 1, let me paint you a picture that I think we can all relate to. You've had a wonderful day at Animal Kingdom. You rode some rides, you saw some animals, you ate some other animals if you went to Flame Tree Barbecue. That's besides the point. Whatever. You had a good day. Now it's time to leave. And on this trip to Animal Kingdom, you drove there. So you make your way to the parking lot. As you're walking back to the car, the sun is beating down on you. Your legs hurt from walking around the largest of the Disney theme parks. Your water bottle is empty. Not a drip of H2O can be found. The car, it's so far away. Why is it so far away? You finally get to it. You open the door to discover the temperature inside the car is north of 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And you think to yourself in that moment, would it have killed someone to plant some trees for shade purposes in this God-forsaken parking lot? Well, no, it probably would not have killed anyone to plant some trees there. It certainly would have taken away from the theme. Because believe it or not, the parking lot is designed to be a desert. When you park at Magic Kingdom, you've got some shaded sections. Epcot has some shade. The monorail helps with that as well. Hollywood Studios, their parking lot isn't too far away from the main entrance, but Animal Kingdom, that parking lot, it's a desolate wasteland, and it seems to be so far away from the main park entrance. This is intentional because what's the first area you get to in the park when you pass through the turnstiles? The name of that section of the park is the Oasis. We all know the stories of someone lost in the desert. They've been wandering for days. Water. All I want, all I need is water. Right? Those sorts of desperate characters. But somehow they stumble upon an oasis of water, of trees, of life, and it seems to appear out of nowhere. This is the sequence that the Imagineers were trying to recreate with the Animal Kingdom. The oasis in the Animal Kingdom is pretty much devoid of human life, right? You can't see a whole lot of human interaction there. It has lush plants, waterfalls, creeks and streams, animals, but it's a total oasis, no sort of untouched by man. So imagine that. You cross this barren desert of the parking lot. You make your way through the turnstiles, and all of a sudden you're in this lush tropical oasis. So the next time you're walking through the parking lot, yes, it might be hot. Yes, it might be excruciating to go through this. Just know that it was intentional, and that even the parking lots in Walt Disney World are designed by the Imagineers. Pretty crazy stuff. And fun fact number 2 talks about the design and what the Imagineers wanted the park to be as well. Because before you enter the park, you'll probably notice the entrance sign right out in front. Behind, on the entrance sign, says Animal Kingdom. There's a big elephant right in the center. But behind the elephant, there's this relief, and this relief has other animals on it. There are giraffes, kangaroos, gazelles, all sorts of real animals, and real animals that you'll see in the theme parks, in the theme park there. But then on that relief, you also see dragon-like creatures and maybe a Pegasus or two. But nowhere in the park can you see dragons or Pegasuses. Is it Pegasuses or is it Pegasusi? Pegasi. Multiple Pegasus. That doesn't sound right. A couple of Pegasus. I don't know. You're not going to see them anywhere in the park, so it doesn't matter what the plural of it is because you're not going to see a singular Pegasus. So why are they there? Why are those make-believe animals on this relief surrounded by other animals that you most, in fact, will see in the theme park? And that's because originally Animal Kingdom was set to explore the relationship not just between animal and man, and the relationship between man and nature, and the relationship between nature and animal, but it was also going to explore the relationship between man and mythical creatures. And it was going to explore this in a land called Beastly Kingdom. So many cultures around the world have important historical stories, narratives, myths, fables that revolve around mythical creatures, unknown animals. Their stories and legends of these unknown creatures play a big part in their society, in their culture. So it made perfect sense to devote a land to that explored that relationship man has with fake animals, with Pegasi. Beastly Kingdom was going to be the most incredible land in the Animal Kingdom, but when it was about to open, that theme park was drastically over budget. It's the largest theme park Disney has ever created. There's so many moving elements. There's live animals they have to take care of. Of course, it was going to be over budget. So the original Beastly Kingdom got the axe. You could see some elements of Beastly Kingdom throughout the park when it opened, but for the most part, the land was stopped. It wasn't completed, and they said that this land is going to come for phase 2 of the park. Well, down the road, time came for phase 2, and the idea was just scrapped completely. A lot of the times, and we've talked about it plenty on past episodes, when there's an idea that's so grand and so large, it has to have a lot of momentum behind it to get done because it has so much budgetary restraints, because it's so complicated, because it's going to be a big undertaking. So when you take these big projects and you put them on the shelf for a while, they lose a lot of momentum that would help it get created. Beastly Kingdom was scrapped. Camp Mickey Minnie was put in the section that was laid out for Beastly Kingdom. And back in the day, Camp Minnie Mickey was the place where you could go from, pavilion to pavilion and meet the Fab Five characters, get your picture taken with them. And this land was also the original location of Festival of the Lion King, where that theater was. It's interesting because further down the road in 2008, we would get some Beastly Kingdom elements when Expedition Everest opened in the Asia part of the section, because that explores the story of not only Mount Everest, but of the legend of the Yeti and Mount Everest. And what's even more interesting is that area that was initially laid out for Beastly Kingdom, Camp Mickey and Minnie were leveled, and that's now the area of Pandora. That's home to some imaginary creatures in the Na'vi as well. So it's kind of interesting that it's come full circle. This land that was supposed to be mythical creatures and things like that now hosts made-up creatures in the Na'vi. It just wasn't what Beastly Kingdom was going to be. Kind of full circle in that area. But what if I was to tell you there's actually a place where you can explore more elements of what was supposed to be a part of Beastly Kingdom? Not only can you explore this area, but it's only a 20-25 minute drive up I-4 in Orlando where you can explore these elements. When Animal Kingdom was completed and opened, and the Beastly Kingdom idea was scrapped, Universal Creative, who are the Universal Imagineers, they're the people who build the Universal parks, well, they started to cherry pick some Imagineers to work for them. And this is very common. Once a big project is complete, like Animal Kingdom, Disney has to let a lot of Imagineers go just because there aren't other projects for them to work on. A lot of times they jump ship and go to Universal, and vice versa. A big project ends at Universal, they come over to Disney. Well, those people went over to Universal, and those Imagineers came aboard to help Universal Orlando create their second theme park called Islands of Adventure. And there is a land in Islands of Adventure that's very similar and pays many nods to Beastly Kingdom. The Lost Continent land focuses on mythical creatures, and at its entrance in Islands of Adventure, it's actually flanked by 2 griffins, right? Those flying creatures that are fake. This section is also used to be home to Dueling Dragons, which was a roller coaster in the Lost Continent section, and then it was annexed to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Hogsmeade. That roller coaster focused on mythical creatures. Dragons are not real. Hate to burst your bubble on that. But then eventually Dueling Dragons got part of it got leveled, and that's where Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure takes place. More mythical creatures as well. But you can see a lot of different elements of Beastly Kingdom throughout, and that's because a lot of the Imagineers went to Universal Creative and kind of started taking those elements that they were going to work on in Animal Kingdom for Beastly Kingdom and applied it here. So it's kind of cool how these 2 dueling forces get ideas from each other, and they don't steal them, but no good idea is ever left on the shelf, and they clearly thought that this was a good idea. So it's safe to say the Lost Continent land definitely took some inspiration from the original idea of Beastly Kingdom. But let's get back to Animal Kingdom for our third fun fact. And as we cross under that entrance, we make our way through the oasis, we reach our next land in Animal Kingdom, and that's called Discovery Island. Of course, at Discovery Island, there's plenty of stuff to see and do. You can find some shopping, dining, the Tree of Life, but the name of the land, Discovery Island, is so perfect because, one, it is an island. It is in the center, and there's, rivers all around it, so that's very cool. But the word discover is important because that's where you're going to start your day, and you're about to discover what adventure you're going to go on. You can go to Asia, Africa. You can go to Dino Land. You can go to Pandora from there. That's how you start your day. But this isn't the first time some place in Walt Disney World has been called Discovery Island. Back in 1974, Disney opened the Discovery Island attraction, which was an island in between the Contemporary and Fort Wilderness in the middle of Bay Lake. It was 11.5 acres, and it was home to different animal exhibits, and guests could climb aboard a boat, go over there, and see all these animal exhibits and wander around Discovery Island. In 1998, when Animal Kingdom opened, the attendance of Discovery Island dropped drastically, and that made perfect sense. Why would someone hitch a boat from wherever, Magic Kingdom, Fort Wilderness, Wilderness Lodge, to go see some animals that are native to Florida when they could just go to Animal Kingdom and see animals from all over the world? With the reduction in attendance for Discovery Island, Disney closed the island in 1999, and when Animal Kingdom was opened, this area was initially called Safari Village. So right in front of the Tree of Life, you were in Safari Village when it first opened. The Imagineers thought, you know what, we're closing Discovery Island in Bay Lake. That's such a good name, and Safari Village, it makes sense, but Africa is all the way at the back of the park, and that's where the real Safari Village is. So why don't we take that name, pay homage to something that has been here since the 70s, and rename this area Discovery Island? And I think that that name fits so well into that first land, but also I think it plays a big part in paying homage to what Animal Kingdom, its humble beginnings in Discovery Island. Today, if you ever take the boat to Fort Wilderness or Wilderness Lodge, you can see the docks and the entrances of the old Discovery Island still there. So it's quite cool to know that history and then also to see it alive and well in the animal kingdom today. Fun fact numero 4. What is Spanish for 4? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Fun fact numero cuatro. Of course, as you walk into Discovery Island, it's hard not to, not to smell the delicious smells of Flame Tree Barbecue. But it is also not hard. It is hard not to take a picture of the awe-inspiring Tree of Life. And there are some fun facts to discover. Do you see what I did there? Discover Discovery Island, what you're discovering. Anyways, the big tree has some fun facts about it. That's what I'm getting at. First, and I know you are going to be shocked to hear this, but the Tree of Life is a fake tree. Again, my apologies, spoiler alert. Actually, what the structure of the tree is, it's an upside down oil rig. Oil rig like they used to have out in the water. So Disney took it, they flipped it upside down, they installed it, and it was no longer in use. Disney bought it, and that's the base of the tree. That's the interior structure of the tree. Kind of ironic that an oil rig has turned into a tree. Some might call that the circle of life. Na zavenya, zava zaba. But then the Imagineers took that base and they added to it. There are 325 animals carved into the tree, and each animal carving, all 325 of them, was hand carved by an artist. Imagine all those artists working on that tree, sculpting different creatures here or there. Really, really, really cool. Walking through the Discovery Island trails, you can actually get up close and personal to some of those incredible details, and you can look and see just how detailed each one of those sculptures is. And one thing that makes the Tree of Life more lifelike is the fact that the leaves on the branches are also man-made, and actually they're attached to the branches on hinges. So those branches and the leaves are on hinges. This allows the leaves to move in the wind. So when there's a big gust or winds from the Florida crazy wet weather, it moves like it's an actual tree. Really, really impressive stuff. Within the Tree of Life, you're going to find the Tree of Life Theater, which is home to It's Tough to Be a Bug. This was actually a very late addition to the park as it was being built. Disney CEO at the time, Michael Eisner, saw a preview of Pixar's newest movie, A Bug's Life, and thought, this has to have a presence in that theme park we're building that's focused on animals. What's interesting about this is this attraction actually came before the film. The attraction opened on April 22nd, 1998, and the film did not debut in theaters until November of 1998, so a few months later. So people who are going into this theater, the first few guests at the Animal Kingdom, they were going in not knowing who these characters were. But since then, since the movie has debuted, it has stuck around and it is still going strong in the Animal Kingdom. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. And it has also been terrifying toddlers for over 20 years now. Poor kids. Fun fact number 5, it's time for some potty talk. Bathrooms, El Baño, the can, the head, whatever you call it, the restrooms at Animal Kingdom are very unique. Also, special shout out, be sure to follow WDW_bathrooms on Instagram. Very fun account where they chronicle the bathrooms of Walt Disney World. It's not crude, it's funny. Check them out. They're great. WDW_bathrooms. So if you go to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, the large bathrooms, the ones that are just on the sides at the park, they're all open. Meaning the entrance of the bathroom, it doesn't have a door on it. You walk right in, you pick a stall, and you go about your business. The bathrooms at Animal Kingdom are different though, because they do have a door to their main entrance. Typically, the door is propped open, but having a door with a lock is very necessary in this park. Animal Kingdom was designed to be able to, even at full capacity, put every single guest inside a structure that could be locked from the inside. That is because in the unfortunate event of if an animal were to ever escape, cast members would need to usher all the guests into a closed space, close the doors until the animal is contained. In order to do this, in order to have everyone be able to be put inside a building, the bathrooms needed to have doors and needed to have locks on them. So, this has never happened before. Thank goodness no animal has escaped in that capacity. But it is a fun toilet fact, a fun can fact you can share with your friends now. Word to the wise, try not to lead off a sentence to a stranger. You know why these Animal Kingdom bathrooms have a door on them? Because you come off as a pretty big creep. Just learn from my mistakes. Best not to approach the strangers about why the bathrooms have doors on them. Fun fact number 6, enough potty talk. Let's go to Dinoland USA. I got my Time Rover shirt on. Let's talk about Dinoland USA. Most people overlook this land, and a lot of them actually don't like it. They think it needs to be bulldozed. They think something else needs to go in there. But I think it's very, very well done. It seems like it was put together in a hurry, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like it. But that's intentional. It's one of the most detail-filled lands, and it's one of the best lands in Animal Kingdom. One of the first ways it's great, you start with a classic pun. As you enter the land, you pass under the Olden Gate Bridge. Get it? Because dinosaurs are old. I'll also come out here and say this. I don't think dinosaurs are real. Every time you go to a museum and there's a dinosaur on display, the bones of a dinosaur, it always says this is a replica. So you go up to the docent there and you say, where are the real bones? And they always say, oh, they're in the back. For the bones for this, they're in the back. They're never on display. I think it's a conspiracy. I don't know what they're hiding from us. I don't know if they're hiding anything at all. But I think it's very interesting that they're never on display. Also, how do we know dinosaurs roared? No one ever heard them, right? They could all be mute. They could just been walking around. I don't know. I feel like, Jurassic Park ruined a lot of stuff. I've looked at the science and I just don't believe in dinosaurs. But I will go on a dinosaur-themed attraction. I'm a fan of fun. And when you pass under the Olden Gate Bridge, you see the dig site with the replica dino skeleton. This is where you first start to understand the story of the land. The story of the land is much like the story of many a roadside attraction in America. Something occurred which brought in a lot of people to the town, and in return, the town folk wanted to capitalize and entertain and profit on the mass of people coming into their town. In this case, in this town, dinosaur bones were found. This discovery brought in a rush of tourists, and the entrepreneurial residents got to work. Chester and Hester are at the core of this story. You can see their store, Dinosaur Treasures, which is wacky and great, but it was built in pieces. If you look at the store from the outside, you can notice, oh wow, this was added on here, this was added on there. As more people came to the town, they added on this part to the story. That sign here, this feature there. They grew as their profits grew. As the town grew in popularity, they grew too and started to build and build with the increasing crowds. They did it quickly, which is why when you walk through Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, that carnival-looking scene, if you look at the ground, you will notice that it's built on top of a parking lot. That's because Chester and Hester, they didn't have any other land. They had the parking lot, so they built the amusement rides there. So even though it seems out of place, like, what are these amusement-style rides doing in a Disney theme park? It fits in with the theme so well of American roadside attractions. And it's also funny because this is what Disney had to do with Disney California Adventure. They didn't have the land to build California Adventure, so they built it on top of the original Disneyland parking lot, and then they were able to build some parking garages further down the road. So I don't know, that's kind of a fun little... I mean, it's not a nod because California Adventure came later than Animal Kingdom did, but it's kind of funny to know that even Disney ran into that problem with California Adventure. But tourists weren't the only ones to descend upon the town. When you go into Restaurantsaurus, you'll find out that researchers and grad students descended upon the town to explore the fossils, to learn about the fossils of the area as well. Restaurantsaurus, that was their mess hall that they would go into for meals and things like that. And as you walk around, you can still see bulletin boards filled with what the students are working on. A lot of interesting details in there. Be sure to check it out the next time you're in Dinoland, USA. Fun fact number 7, it's time for one of my favorite attractions at all of Walt Disney World, Dinosaur. I'm wearing the shirt. I'm wearing the shirt for you people. What's interesting about Dinosaur is that it didn't always used to be called Dinosaur. In fact, when it initially opened, it was called Countdown to Extinction. That initial name, when the attraction opened in 1998, was changed to Dinosaur in 2000 to, get this, promote the 2000 Disney film Dinosaur, which was not a good movie, by the way. Disney can't seem to get it right with dinosaur movies. Dinosaur, The Good Dinosaur. Maybe stop putting dinosaur in the name and figure it out. Disney flipped an attraction, renamed it, added new elements to it to create this marketing endeavor, I guess you could call it, to promote a film that was not good. And an interesting fact is that you're not being chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which you think you are. During the ride, you're actually being chased by a Carnotaurus, which is a T-Rex-like dinosaur, but it's got little horns on its head. I don't know what those little tiny horns do, but he's got horns on his head. The Carnotaurus was recently discovered by researchers, and this is real as far as dinosaurs are real, which again, they are not. Researchers found this, and it was a new dinosaur, and it was discovered around this time when this attraction was being built. Researchers actually thought it was going to be more popular than the king of the dinos, the T-Rex. Disney was persuaded by them to not include a T-Rex, but instead to include a Carnotaurus in the attraction. Newsflash update on the story. Carnotaurus, not more popular than T-Rex. T-Rex, still king. But it is still pretty cool that it is in this attraction, if you know what you're looking for. Originally, Dinoland and Countdown to Extinction, which became Dinosaur, the whole area and the attractions, they were sponsored by McDonald's, one of Disney's favorite corporate partners to sponsor with. And this brings us to one of my absolute favorite fun facts I point out to anyone new when we ride Dinosaur together. When you're in the queue for Dinosaur, as you go down the steps, so you exit the pre-show with Dr. Marsh and Dr. Grant Seeker. Get it? Dr. Grant Seeker, he's seeking grants. Anyways, when you get out of that queue, you go down the stairs and you're about to board your Time Rover. Look up and you're going to see a red pipe, a white pipe, and a yellow pipe. And they each have formulas written on them. Fun fact here, those are actually the chemical formulas of ketchup, mayonnaise, and mustard, which is a subtle nod, of course, to the sponsor of the attraction in McDonald's. The last dinosaur fun fact I have is the vehicle and track you are on is exactly the same turn for turn as the Indiana Jones adventure out in Disneyland, in Adventureland out there. The only difference is the scenery, the set design. There's no Indy, there is a Carnotaurus, but it's cool to know turn for turn, right turn, left turn, up, down. It's exactly the same. They took that, put it in Animal Kingdom, same ride vehicle, same system, ride system. They just put a bunch of dinosaurs in there as well. I think I've never been on the Indiana Jones adventure out in Disneyland. People say that that's one of the best attractions ever created. I assume that has the nod when it comes to that versus dinosaur, but it's still cool to know that it has that special tie-in as well. For fun fact number 8, let's work our way into Asia. There's so many details here. What I want to suggest is that the next time you find yourself in this part of the park, take it nice and slow. Try to absorb it all. Look at the buildings, the signs, see everything, because there's a lot of stuff to take in. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of two of my favorite details in this land. Throughout Anandapur, you'll see people really like to get around using bicycles. They're piled up all over the place. They're chained to places here or there. But what's interesting is, as you walk through Anandapur, as you get closer to Expedition Everest, you'll see less and less bike prints in the road. There won't be any. You're just going to start to see footprints and hoof prints. Why is that? That's because as you get closer to Mount Everest, you're hiking up a hill. And there, outside at the base of Everest, it's way too high for bicycles to be used. It's not practical. So that's why you stop seeing bike prints in the ground and you only see hoof prints for like ox and then yaks. It would be yak, yakety yak, don't talk back, yik yak, or human footprints in there. No bike prints. Cool little detail there. Throughout, you will also see prayer flags flying in the wind throughout this land. They're on Everest, they're in town, all throughout. And these are actually traditional prayer flags you'd see in the Himalayas. Yellow, green, red, white, and blue. They each represent a different element. They represent earth, water, fire, cloud, and sky. So it's a nice nod to the traditionalism of the actual area, the part of the world that this land is based off of. And if you want, you can purchase some prayer flags in the Everest gift shop as well. For fun fact number 9, we're going to work our way out of order, and we're going to go over to Pandora. I mentioned it briefly before, but there's a lot here. There's a lot of details in Pandora, what it used to be, what it became. When you're walking in from either entrance that you can walk into, pay attention to the music. It changes subtly from background music into interesting noises of the forest. You might hear a growl here, or bugs, or weird noises that you would only hear on Pandora. Noises that are not of this earth. It's very subtle. You probably won't notice the change unless you're cognitively focusing on it. But it really helps you immerse in the land like you're not on planet Earth anymore. One fun fact that is a fun fact of extreme pettiness occurs in Pandora as well. When ground was breaking on Pandora, there was a promo photo taken at the groundbreaking ceremony. This photo included Disney executives, Imagineers, and some of the Avatar film producers, including James Cameron. And then later on, there was also a superimposed 9-foot Na'vi holding a big old shovel, helping with the groundbreaking ceremony. It's very funny to see such a tall creature holding such a big shovel, but I digress. In the original photo, there's one Disney executive who's a guy named Tom Staggs. At the time of the photo being taken, he was chairman of the Parks Division, and at other times he would go on to be CFO and COO of Disney overall. He was tapped to be the heir apparent to Bob Iger. So when Bob Iger was going to step down as Disney CEO, Tom Staggs was presumed to take that position. Well, word came out that the Disney Board of Directors didn't necessarily want it to be Tom Staggs who was going to replace Bob Iger as CEO, and Iger actually decided he was going to stay around for longer as CEO as anticipated. So when Staggs realized this, he decided to get out of there. He left the company. It got a little messy. I think tempers were hot. It was a whole big thing when Tom Staggs left. Well, if you go into Satu'li Canteen, right before you get to the register, look at the wall and you'll see some photos. One of them is this photo from the groundbreaking ceremony, the one where there's Imagineers and Disney executives and Avatar producers and the big old Na'vi. That photo. The only thing is that Tom Staggs is no longer in this photo. They edited him out completely. They photoshopped him out completely. And I can't remember if they put some other guy in there or there's just a blank space or whatever. And then they hung it up in the restaurant. Imagine that. I just love that kind of corporate pettiness that 99.9% of people who look at that photo, they don't know what's going on. They don't know who those people are. But now you do. And the next time you go to get a delicious bowl at Satu'li Canteen, you can share that fun fact of incredible pettiness with your friends as well. For our final fun fact number 10, it comes to Africa. I think when it comes to Africa and even Asia as lands, we could do an entire episode on each of them, exploring the details and the stories that make up a land. And I think those are going to be great episodes when I do them down the road. So I won't dive too into Africa here, but I will share a great tidbit. Kilimanjaro Safaris is, of course, the centerpiece of this land, and it is a remarkable attraction in size, scope, storytelling. Largest attraction Disney has ever built by far. Even though it opened in 1998, in many ways, this was Walt Disney himself's idea. Walt, he loved animals. You could tell this from his true life adventure films, which were documentary series he did in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They're all on Disney Plus too, and they all focus on animals and nature. They're really cool. Check them out. They were groundbreaking when they started, but his love of animals eventually made it into his theme parks as well. If you watch Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus, which I like, it's very different from the Imagineering story. The narration, it's kind of wacky, and I don't know. It's a little weird and it's a little too kooky, but you learn some interesting fun facts with it. The first episode is the Jungle Cruise, and in that you'll learn that initially Walt wanted the Jungle Cruise in Disneyland to be filled with real animals. The creative team came to him and said, this isn't going to provide a good show for the audience because we can't control the animals. Back in the 50s, when Disneyland was being built and Jungle Cruise was being built, it was just going to be impossible to come up with this boat attraction that featured real animals. So they went with audio animatronics, and eventually it became the wacky, pun-filled adventure we know and love today. But that idea of an attraction with real animals, it stuck with Imagineers. And generations later, it came to life in the form of Animal Kingdom. In many ways, that attraction is part of Walt's legacy. The technology and the storytelling of the Imagineers advanced so far in those years that now we have one of the most spectacular attractions in the world because of it. So even 30 years after Walt Disney passed, Animal Kingdom opened and still featured nods to the guy that started it all. There you go. Bunch of fun facts about the Animal Kingdom. I think this series, Fun Facts About Disney World, is going to continue with one final episode next week, where we're going to dive into some fun facts about the resorts. But for now, I want to know, what was your favorite Animal Kingdom fun fact you learned today? Or is there a fun fact about Animal Kingdom that I didn't share that you want to share? Head over to the Opinioneers community at wdwopinion.com/opinioneers. That's OPINIONEERS to let me know. Or if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment. Let me know, what's your favorite Animal Kingdom fun fact? I'll be sure to reply to each and every one of them. I've accumulated a lot of these fun facts over the years, mainly because I have no life. This is what I do. But there were some books, one book in particular, that helped me put the show together today. That's called The Hidden Magic of Walt Disney World by Susan Venez. You can get links to that book by visiting wdwopinion.com/114. That's where the show notes episode is as well. If you enjoyed today's episode and you're on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment letting me know you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. For all those peeps listening on Apple, please be sure to subscribe and rate and review the show on there. I'll be reading future reviews on the show as well when they come in. If you listen on Spotify, what up, Spotta peeps? I just made that up. Please click the follow button on the show page, as that will help us out as well. In between episodes, the best way to talk Disney with me is by joining the WDW Opinioneers Facebook group. In there, you can connect with your fellow Disney fanatics. You can talk Disney 24/7. Join that community by going to wdwopinion.com/opinioneers, OPINIONEERS. If you like the show, be sure to share it with someone you think might enjoy it as well. Share it with your Disney World loving friends. That would be awesome if you could do that for me. And if you're ready to check these fun facts out in person, and you're ready to take your next perfect Walt Disney World vacation, well, I would love to help you book a trip. I can do that as a travel agent with Ear to Their Travel. With that service, I'll be able to find you the best deals, answer any questions you have, book dining reservations before you, keep you up to date with all the latest ongoings at Walt Disney World, and I'm going to be an advocate for you, someone you can turn to for advice. The best part about this is that my services are 100% free to use. Doesn't cost you a dime. You can reach out to me at Connor, CONOR, at eartotheirtravel.com, and I can help you book a trip. You can also go to the show notes page, wdwopinion.com/114, to learn how to book a trip through me as well. We'll get you a no-obligation free quote for your next Disney trip. And of course, if there is ever anything I can do to help you, I would be more than happy to try and do so. Just reach out to me at Connor, CONOR, at wdwopinion.com. If you have any questions or if you need anything at all, I'd love to hear from you. That's going to do it for me this week. If you liked what you heard today, then you've been listening to the WDW Opinion Podcast. If you didn't like what you heard, then you've been listening to Edith. Lovely name. It's a lovely name. I've been Connor Brown, and until next time, keep LTD living the dream, and I'll see you real soon.